Yo,
What up, man?
what's sideways
How's it
better,
going?
right?
Yeah, cool.
What's up, man?
Not much. I'm learning the secrets to this. I got to get like close and puff up when I'm on with you big fucking dudes. I've been having some like smaller guys on lately. I had like a therapist on, had Ed. So it's like I've been feeling all big. Uh, so let me know how
Oh
if you can hear me.
man.
Okay, I got a new setup, so if stuff like all fucked up. This could be bad. I've never really shared screens and stuff, so we'll see how this goes.
No, 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 it looks good. Yeah, I need to I'm gonna do that when I move. I want to get a mic and I want to start doing this properly because I also hate the way my voice sounds when I'm like trying to shout.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So
doesn't pick up loud. And you're somebody who like people they want to listen to you talk. Is like me, like they're like, you don't sound perfect. Fuck you. I'm not gonna listen to your shit.
that's how, yeah, you got one chance.
Exactly. So I got just a little Yeti, but yeah, people go all out on them. So how was your last leg workout?
I skipped it because there's no way I was gonna make it in time.
Oh
So
man,
I
I
just
could I could have worked with you, man. It's all good. I told you whatever you need.
But like sometimes because like I was already like an hour behind. And then I was like, I like get anxiety. Like if I have something, like I would probably end at the same time anyway. But because I know I have something that I have to do, I'll just be like checking the clock the whole time. So I didn't want to do legs right before I got on a flight, but fuck it, I'm just gonna do them tomorrow.
Well, appreciate it, man. So you're flying out tomorrow now?
No, no, I'm gonna leave. I leave Tuesday.
You leave
It's
Tuesday.
Tuesday at like 4 a.m.
No, man, nice.
So I have, yeah.
So how was I haven't talked to you since Brazil. How was Brazil and Germany? How was Brazil down there?
It was rough on my ankle for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, did that
Yeah,
happen before you went there?
yeah, yeah. It was. I was only able just to walk right before I left for that, so I wasn't even sure if I was gonna go or not. But I was able to stand on it, and it was okay. Honestly, the worst part about it was all the weight that I lost. So like I just been sitting around on the couch for more than a month, like not moving. And then I was able to like start like, doing some leg extensions, things that I didn't have to push with my ankle
Yeah.
because also my shoulder was fucked.
Yeah.
So that was just the hardest part is that was the first time I went to Germany after Brazil. So Brazil, I went and I swear to God, like, thank God my sponsor, they're just good people and they just know that I'm not, a
Yeah.
liar
I don't think
because
anyone
I was
thinks of you
supposed
as a liar. You're as open as a fucking gets.
I wish, you know what? I wish I lied more than I feel bad about because that would help me a lot sometimes just to lie. You're right. But last year I was supposed to go to the Arnold in Brazil, and then that's when I was on that travel ban because of Dubai. So I couldn't go because of then. And then there was like something else. I forgot what happened, but I couldn't go. So this time I just didn't want to be the guy canceling on him
Yeah.
again, but they probably were like, "This guy's full of shit. There's no way that he just fell." So that was the hardest part in Brazil, and then Germany. Man, FIBO. No one told me it was fucking 4 days.
Yeah.
I know it's the biggest in the
Well, like
world, and
two
it was
days
my
are for the
first.
industry, right? And then it's got like a couple days for open public, right? So it's a big
Right, and
thing.
maybe if I knew about it before I was going in, it would have been fine. But I'm just like 2 more days, one more day, and my girl's like, "No, it's 4 days," and I'm like, "Holy shit!"
It's a lot.
So the last day, I was wrecked. I was like trying to lean on one foot because I'll never be the guy sitting down. That's probably what I should
You
have did. They
totally should
even
have. Everyone would have understood.
But I hate it. One, I never want to be that guy because there's some people who sit down for no reason. They just sit down. And
Yeah.
even when I used to go to expos, I used to like wait in line and then they're just like sitting down and they just like sign their autograph and then like give it to
Yeah.
you.
I
It's
gotta
just
tell you,
such like
man,
a
like Ronnie was like that too, man. I met him at the Arnold and he was in his crutches in his wheelchair and he stood up. Every single person came by, he stood up and shook their hand, took a picture, and then you go back down. So I mean, that's your guys' mentality. That's awesome.
it's so funny you say that because when Ronnie was Mr. Olympia, he sat down and didn't stand up. So it's so funny
He
that when
appreciates it
he was with
now.
BSN, yeah, when he's with BSN, he's like 300 plus pounds. He's like more paralyzed than he is now. That's so funny.
That's
He
actually pretty
never stood
hilarious.
up, bro. Never. He
Maybe,
never stood
maybe,
up.
maybe when I saw him, it was for his own supplement company, and it wasn't BSN. I
Yeah,
don't.
probably right. Exactly. Fuck BSN.
Right? Did you see anything cool in at FIBO? Like any cool new equipment or anything?
I signed with Gym 80, so that was really cool. It was really cool to get a new sponsor. Their booth was like, fuck, it's like the size of my whole apartment building. It was insane. So that was really cool. And like when people want to talk to me about my dad, it's always the same stupid bullshit, and I just have to like, if they're older, I just like, oh wow, but if they're younger, I'm just like, bro, I don't care. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You weren't even alive then, so you're just talking about stuff someone else told you about. But it was the first time I went to Germany, and Germany is the Essen Olympia that was in 72, which is when Flex magazine was still around. It was the number 3 biggest controversy in bodybuilding history was Arnold beating my dad. So that was the cool to go there. And there were so many people that were at that show in 72 that came to talk to me that wanted to tell me about that show and how much
So
bullshit it
should your
was.
dad have
And
won? I don't remember that year.
yeah, he lost. He lost to
You
Arnold.
think I mean, you think your dad should have won that year or what?
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
was pretty bad because so my dad beat Arnold in 69, and then in 70 Arnold won. And you could tell, like, I talk about this all the time, is that sometimes we have to lose to be our best. We would have never had the Jay Cutler we had if Dexter didn't beat him. There's so many cases in the sport where somebody lost, and then we ended up seeing the best them ever. So that ended up happening with my dad, is that he lost to Arnold in 70. And then that's when he teamed up with Arthur Jones, which I think we were talking about last time. So you can tell it was probably the first time he was with someone who even just trained him, let alone has a different type of knowledge. So he looked cut. It was the first time he was like shredded, for back then.
Was the year
So he
before
definitely
that
should.
the year that he wasn't allowed to compete for the I think he guest posed or something?
No,
What year
then
was
that was
that?
70. That was 71 is when they suspended him.
And he would have won that one, right? Like he was looking good that year, right?
Yeah, right. Because now it's like a couple years with this
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
Jones. So yeah, who knows? And then 72 was them finally being able to, put all this work against Arnold. And it was pretty obvious, especially if you even take the rules of today, they really reward the guys who come in looking way different. And Arnold looked the same from 71 to 72. There wasn't any change because he wasn't losing.
Yeah.
You just get comfortable. So either way, that was probably the best part of being in Germany, was having these old cats come tell me that they were sitting in the crowd, because there's no video back then, there's no picture. I mean, there's barely any
Mhm.
photographers. There's very rare to even get photos back then. So they were at a show that realistically there's only probably 4 or 5 photos that exist.
That's awesome.
So that was cool. And Germany was Cologne was where the FIBA was. That was cool. We like rented some scooters just because I couldn't walk around. So we rode
Yeah.
around because I want to do something. I don't want to be like, the thing my mom always complained about is that they went everywhere, every inch of the world, but they stayed in the hotel. And that now she talks about it all the time that my dad was just like, "Ugh, I don't want to go anywhere." And I catch myself doing that because
Yeah,
you
we can
work the
suck.
expo. Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to look back because I'm always just the next show, or whatever it is, the next paycheck, and then end up like these guys where they're always trying to give me advice to enjoy it while you're there, because I know, and who knows how many years, nobody's going to be asking me to go there. So I really want to appreciate when I was there, and I went with my girl. So I just want to make a point to actually do stuff with her.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out too. What do you think about the guest posing? Anything stand out for
Uh,
you from there? Who really stood
the
out to you?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Um, Well, now watching New York, it really shows. I commented on this too because the NPC posted it, just how everybody was bashing Nick,
Yeah.
just how he looked. And I commented, they did the same thing when I did Pittsburgh. I guess post Pittsburgh twice. And then one of the times I did it, excuse me, was before I did New York. And it was just everyone going ham about how shitty I looked. Even Sean Ray did a whole fucking story about how horrible
Um,
I was. He's just waiting for me to mess up for he can go to town. And then right, a week later I win. And so I think that was really good. I kept commenting every time people were like, Rami didn't show up. I respond back to almost every single one of those people. Were you going? Have you ever been? Have you ever been to a Pittsburgh show in your life? Are you even gonna buy the streaming? You know, sometimes people are just so wanting to attack something, and it's like you weren't even gonna know if he was there or not.
Especially so
You're
they
just
can
trying to.
pile on because of last year.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there was
yeah.
more they can just
Oh, oh yeah. Like I'm so sick and tired of Rami doing this.
yeah.
How's this affecting your
he's
life at
he's coming
all?
from fucking Egypt too, you know. Everybody else is coming from a
Right,
state or two
exactly.
across. Like, come
It's so easy to just drive over from Cairo. Come on.
on. So who stood
So
out to you
yeah,
as
that
making
was what.
who kind of made the best impression to you out of the guys on stage?
Um, yeah, see, it's just tough when you have a guy who's like Martin. He's just been in shape for so long. It was just really incredible to see him still from Detroit, you know, and then watching New York, you know,
Do,
he's even better.
do you think he would have won Brazil?
Martin.
This,
Ooh, how many Brazil fans you have watching your show?
no, no, don't worry. Because I mean, I'm with you. I probably would just because the back, you know, the back was such a disparity, and he doesn't lose the side shots the way Tonio does. You know, they're pretty even on the side shots. So I
Yeah,
definitely think,
Raphael, no matter what, looked better in Ohio, you know. So
yeah,
that was my biggest thing is that usually the way you can catch a guy who's a little bit better than you is to catch them slipping by doing too many shows, because you do too many shows, you're getting judged by the same judges, you know, that you were a week prior, or I think it was like two weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks between Ohio and Brazil.
yeah.
And so for him to look less than Ohio, you have to give it to the guy, you know, who's looking the best. So if Martin was there, he should have won. But the reason why I asked if you had Brazil fans, I was just joking. I was gonna.
Yeah,
My real response is nobody was gonna beat Rafael. There's no way.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
It's just not happening. It's like Hadi going to Iran.
Well, I
He's
think
not
the
gonna
judges want to be
lose.
able to get out of the arena, you know. Those
Exactly.
Brazilians, like, don't they like behead their people during like soccer
I was
games?
just gonna say that we all know. I don't know how much soccer you watch, but I watch zero, and we all know the story about them beheading their goalie. You
Exactly.
know, nah, bro, you can have it. Go ahead, no
Yeah,
problem.
that's hilarious.
Mhm.
So we did you watch the show? You just kind of caught some pictures of the New York Pro.
Yeah, because we were packing and just trying to get everything together, it came on at like 4 a.m. here. So I didn't catch really the comparisons. I was able to catch a little bit the prejudging, but I thought everybody came back at night a little bit better.
Yeah. Did you see the
It's really
scorecard?
interesting. Yeah, 3 points.
Well, was it 1 point? You mean, yeah, 1 point difference between Nick and Martin.
It's only one? Oh, I thought I saw three.
Yeah,
It's
four
one?
and a five. Yeah.
Ah,
That tells you something about the judging, because that was a Nick that was really on. And we'll look at the pictures in a second, but we're looking at the pictures, you know, you definitely think Nick, but there are a couple of moments, you know, when it's not in a picture, and I think they're just being so hard on that stomach. Like if you know you can hold it during the poses is good, and but if you let it out at all during these transitions or just even a moment, I think they're just really wanting to dock you. So yeah, so listen, the top 10 was pretty nuts. That's a stacked ass New York Pro, right? So I'll run it down real
yeah.
quick. We had who did we have? We had so Nick won by the 1 point, then we had Martin, Tonio, and then Stu, who looked great. And then was it Christian Wolski coming out of nowhere to take number 5? And it looks like Quentin ended up coming back and taking 6. He kind of moved up throughout the night. And then I guess Tim Budesheim ended up passing Angel as well, because he beat him, you know, at the night show. So it was Tim and then Angel. And then then we had Emir just shredded as shit. And then rounding out the top 10 was fucking Justin Rodriguez, you know. So what do you think about Justin? You think it's time for him to like step away? I mean, if he's taking 10th of the New York Pro that he used to be contender to win every year.
Yeah, we went at it, and look
Yeah.
how long ago that was, and he was chomping at the bit there. And then a couple times, I think he even placed a little bit even higher.
You guys went
I
against each other
understand.
a lot, right? Chicago too
Yeah,
before it.
yeah, yeah. We had a little bit of a rivalry going on. Even one time it got pretty heated. Um, but it's just one of those things where, and then either they meet me or we just meet in general, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
nobody is wanting to hate me anymore. I think it's just very easy to hate me. The idea of me, this guy's son, and he also talks shit. He also, you know, voices his opinion. Like God forbid that. So when you meet me, and right, I'm like a really big fan of the sport. I think that's what really changed a lot for Justin because yeah, he used to really dislike me. But to answer your question, it's like right, people tell me that I need to retire. But like me, I know in my life, like when I did a show, I messed up, I did this, I had this going on. And so sometimes bodybuilders know, well, I would have looked better if I had this, or if I wasn't going through my divorce or personal stuff or whatever it is. The thing with Justin is he's got some pretty noticeable injuries. And if like back to what you're saying, if Nick didn't do Pittsburgh, I think he would have lost New York. I think there was so much get on your stomach, get on your stomach. Even Steve telling him you better step it up, it made him think about it in those transitions to control that gut and stuff like that. Where when you take, I'm speaking firsthand, when you take a year off, even just 1 year, you forget a lot of little things that you do when you're not on stage regularly. And I think that guest posing gave him a little bit of like a reminder, and he was able to remember those things at New York. And look, 1 point easily could have gone the other way if he wasn't as polished, having that little run through at Pittsburgh. So with Justin, so my point is that that means Nick would have lost if he wasn't holding that in. And Justin's is almost just as bad, if not worse.
I don't think he had
Um,
his control. He can't, really do a lot with
right.
it now.
So that's just the only thing is you see guys. I mean, even happens to Mr. Olympias. Is once you can have the best abs, you can have an 8 pack, but once that gut is kind of just like distended, to get it back, like even Dexter, for I don't know how many of your fans for following the sport. At the end of Dexter's reign, his stomach was really bad, and this guy is
Yeah.
probably the best abs ever. And if you talk to him, he was very public about how he had to get on a um I guess it's not a nutritionist, but like someone to help him with his gut health. And he got on this whole program. They had to do all this procedure for him. And then he was able to come back. And I think he won Tampa against
Yeah.
Luke
Luke.
Sandow. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it was way better. But even someone like Dexter Jackson had this problem. And look how much he had to go through to get it to be just okay. It wasn't even like it was like
Yeah.
amazing. If Justin's not going to take time off to do that, take away the tricep, take away the other kind of injuries that he has, just the gut alone, he doesn't take any time off. And I even yelled at him myself too, bro, take a year off. But this is the thing that fans don't know, bro. You take 1 year off and your sponsors are gone, your algorithm is gone, you're almost non existent. So it's like, not do well and keep slightly paying your bills, or take a full face plant and lose all your sponsors and then maybe come back better. So it's just
Well,
tough.
it depends on the person, right? Totally, because Justin's not like an English native speaker, and he's not, going to be able to bring in the same kind of like social media following if he's not competing. Whereas someone like you or someone else, you could get away with it a little bit easier for sure. So let's look at
Exactly.
some pictures. I don't know how the fuck this is gonna go. I've never done this. Let's see. We'll kind of judge through the first call out. Okay, I'm so technologically like retarded. I don't think I'm supposed to say that. Okay, so let's see what we see. Okay. Are you seeing this okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So we have the initial first call. This is just from prejudging. I couldn't get really good pictures from the night show. And so this is the initial first six, but as we know, Angel ended up falling out of there. So man, this is such a bad pose for Nick. And like I feel like who kind of stands out to you out of this when you're looking at the
Well, yeah,
front.
exactly. You can tell whoever took this picture, they're not even in the pose completely because Nick's stomach doesn't look like that. But
This
let's
was the
just
better
let's
one
just
I picked too. There was another
oh
one
my
that
gosh. Oh my gosh. Well,
poor Nick. I didn't want him to make it look
yeah,
like I was
yeah,
trying to.
exactly.
So I think some of it
I
too is like if you only get it for like 1 split second, they're looking longer.
Yeah, but you have to think too, this is what we talked about I think the last time is the Olympia, is a business. So now you have Martin going anyway, and now it's a really close show. People are now thinking like, man, what's Martin going to look like at the Olympia? Boom, you just got money just from that alone. You
Yeah,
take Nick out and you make him lose, you're probably going to get more money at the show that he has to now enter to qualify. Yeah, so you're going to get money on that end. But let's say he doesn't, you're going to lose Nick Walker money at the Olympia. It's just worth it for 1 point just to give it to him
oh yeah,
because otherwise, we can all tell the change of guard that's happening in the sport right now. Uh, they do want somebody a little bit more pleasing. So to answer your question, who stands out is Tonio and Martin easily.
Yeah.
If you care about aesthetics and shape and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen going forward. I actually just got into it with Lee Haney of all people. He posted this. He posted this. Such
You
a.
talking
It's so.
shit?
Yeah, but it's just so ignorant because it's like my dad. These guys don't pay attention to bodybuilding. They don't go to shows. They literally have no knowledge of who's in. They just see who wins. So he was like, "Oh, everybody looks like a Frankenstein." So I named 7 guys that probably had a better waist than he did. And it's like you cannot just summarize the whole open class because, there's a couple guys that like look like Nick or something like that. But let's not pretend that what's the top 5 at the Olympia? You have Hottie,
Yeah.
yeah, or you have Derek. He's hitting a vacuum.
Everyone
You
hits
have
a vacuum.
Hottie has a good waist. Like there's really no one even
Samson.
in the top 5, yeah, that have a horrible waist.
Compared to the
So
early 2000s, it's this is night and day. It's a lot better.
yeah, so that's what I was even saying. People in the comments that yes, we're not back to Frank Zane, we're not back to like Sean Ray abs, but there is a change happening, and this would have been a show that they probably could have just said flat out, this is the criteria from now on. I don't know if you remember, your fans probably don't. They made a official announcement a little bit after Ronnie days that they were done with the gut,
Yeah, yeah,
and then they made an announcement they were going to start deducting you. And I think Phil kind of got where they just made an example of him
yeah.
to lose. But ever since then, Tyler especially has been trying to make a point to reward guys with actual V taper. So yeah, so that's to answer a long way to answer your question. Those 2 guys stand out. But I did want to say just publicly so people can hear and also Stu can hear. When you sent me your predictions, I didn't even Stu's my boy, and I didn't even have him in the top 4.
I
I had
know.
I had I had Quentin beating him, and you put him
I had
above.
him.
So I just wanted to give you
Yeah.
props for that because this Stu, and this is a good example too for people that actually want to learn bodybuilding. Stu placed better last year at the New York Pro, and this is the best he's ever
Oh
looked.
yeah.
So this is
Oh
a
yeah.
perfect example of what bodybuilding is that just because you got a first place doesn't even really mean that you're that great. And just because you got a later, a further placing doesn't mean you're bad. If he would have looked like this at the Cal, he would have beat me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's really cool to see because I posted like a little thing about Sean for the New York Pro, and someone asked me, is this your best look that you ever had? And I said, no, not even close. My look at the Arnold 2020 was by far my best look, but I went against Bonock,
Yeah.
Rami, Dexter, Cedric. So I'll take that 5th place over my first place against Juan,
John.
Justin, yeah, John. I mean, it was a really good show, but exactly, if you really care about body, and because you want to know how much you're progressing, that's what it comes down to. These small little $10,000 checks really don't mean anything in the long run if you're not progressing. So I know Stu is probably really happy because when you find out that what you're doing for the whole year is working, it's worth more than 10 grand, I promise you. Because sometimes you're not sure. Is this back exercise really good? Is this diet really good? Is, whatever it is. So he knows now definitively what he's doing is working. And I wouldn't be shocked if he goes to the Cal next week, even better.
Yeah, him and Tonio, I imagine, are gonna go together. Yeah, I like Stu. My last coach was Blue Taylor, and that's Stu's coach, and I think he's criminally underrated. I think he's a great coach. He does. I think he's doing Phil Klahar right now. He had King Q whenever he was a top 10 212 Olympian. So yeah, I think he's gonna just dial in and even sharper now. Yeah, I think this might have been. I haven't really analyzed it, but this might be the best Tonio too. I thought his legs had a lot better separation. His pecs looked a lot fuller. His arms looked a lot fuller. I'm not 100% sure about the condition, but I think this might be the best one yet. And then Angel, Jesus Christ, his pecs are like so big on this front lat spread. It's like he's doing like a most muscular with his pecs. So I
I
definitely think this
knew.
is.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is definitely Nick's worst pose. What about Angel?
Yeah. I was just gonna say though, is that I was just hoping he was gonna do well, Angel. But except for fucking Clarita, because he's so perfect, every time a 212 guy goes into the open class, they have the same mindset we all do, is these guys are big. So I want to come in just a little bit fuller. When realistically, if he would have just came in the same condition he was at a 212, he would have placed better.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think he probably just did the open too, right? Isn't his teammate Ole who ended up winning the 212? I
Oh,
think I
right, they
think I think
are.
they have
Yeah.
the same coach, yeah. And that was a 1 point
Mhm.
decision as well against Kareth Bagel. That was a good battle down
You,
there.
you know what he weighed for the? For,
Who Ole?
you
I'm
probably
imagining
didn't even have
Ole.
to
Oh,
say.
Angel? No, I don't know. He
Yeah.
probably, yeah, probably just a few little bit over with water and glycogen. And I wouldn't think too
Hmm.
much because he's doing the 212 Olympia, right? It's not like he's packing on muscle to do open. I think, right? Is he
Exactly.
doing he did qualify, didn't he? He's not doing open, is
No,
he?
yeah, yeah. He's doing 212, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And then so let's see what we got. All right, side chest. These are some fucking good side chest poses right here. Like
Yeah.
for real.
Look at Stu. Fuck.
I know. That's
He
what
looks like a
I he's got such a gnarly side chest. That was really surprising. And I made a video. I was just kind of fucking around, but it's almost like some of his like self-harm shit he did kind of like makes his striations look crazier. And his
bro.
back.
His tiger stripes are starting to become cool as fuck. I love it.
They definitely like on the pecs, they definitely like almost enhance it. But
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
these
yeah.
are some good side chest shots right here. Do you give this to
Hmm.
Nick or what do you have? You have yeah, this is close.
Yes, yeah. I think Nick's only downside on his side shots is he has no ass. He has no butt.
That's true.
So
I never noticed
so
that.
yeah, so look at Tonio's isn't great either, but look at Martin's. He
Yeah.
kind of has it where when you have a glute that kind of keeps going past your hamstring and curls up and then the hamstring connects to it, it just looks so much sicker. Um,
It
where
still
the
looks
side
good.
of yeah, yeah, no, he I mean, it's just one of those things where if his back was probably a little bit better, then he probably would have beat Tonio, realistically.
Yeah.
Um,
I might
but
give him this
but
pose actually.
but Nick's quads are from the side really good. So he beats Martin on the side here. So I would give it to Nick. And then but I would put Stu in third on this side chest.
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
not second.
Yeah. Martin's so polished in every pose.
Yeah, I was
Man,
just gonna say that. It's just such a clean, like we know the sport is very harsh, you know. There's nothing like you don't look at bodybuilding and you're like, oh, that's healthy. But Martin looks healthy. Like he looks like a
yeah.
healthy, it's just like, I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it.
And he's so seasoned for a young guy. I got to be honest. I didn't really have huge expectations for Martin when he was coming up and turning pro. I remember him and Brett kind of working together, and I was like, "Oh, these guys, they'll be all right." Maybe Brett. I did not see Martin coming up the way he has. He's gonna, now he, potential top 6 Olympian already. Like Jesus, who do you give this side tricep to?
Um, it's weird because this actually is not a good capture of the camera because Martin's side tricep is really good, but
It
maybe he
is.
just hasn't pulled his stomach in a little bit
I have some more
because
of just
it's
Nick and Martin later. We'll analyze it
oh
there once.
okay,
Yeah,
so from this picture you got to give it to Nick.
yeah. I'm surprised he looks so like not uncomfortable in his side tricep. I would think someone was like big as him. Like I wouldn't think he would actually look comfortable holding that, but he looks like he could just chill there all day.
Yeah, 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 right.
And man, I always love backs. To me, like as a fan, like backs are just the most interesting because you can really see how someone trains, like if they, overuse something or just kind of what they tend to pull with. It's definitely the most different thing you'll see pretty much when you're looking at stage pictures.
It's because you're a real fan. Because even when I got into bodybuilding, I was just like, why do they keep rewarding backs so much? Like, why is Ronnie with this pregnant belly beating everyone? Like, it's just one muscle. And then you learn how to train back, and you're like, holy shit! Like, there's so many different ways to train back,
Yeah.
and that's why it's such a reward. Exactly.
Man, I'm just really kind of surprised that Martin's lower body, I think, is better than Nick's lower body in this shot, at least in
It's
this
it's
picture.
the It's the same because he's a little bit smaller, but like as in the condition and the separation, this
Yeah.
is easily one of the best. Like Martin's my boy. I was gonna say because if you met Martin when you were not sure about him, you would know right away talking to him because he's just He's very smart. He's very intelligent. He has a plan of what he's doing, and so I knew that he was eventually going to come around. But even when people were like, "Oh, he's the white Phil Heath," I was just like, "Okay, calm down." But
I see
this
it a
lower
little bit.
body, this lower body is definitely starting to be very
Yeah,
Derek and Phil Heath esque.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you still give this to Nick with the biceps? I mean, that's the one thing. He's got those peaking biceps in this back double that Martin's kind of lacking.
Yeah, I have myself non-existent peaks.
Me
So when
too.
I do back double, it's just my biceps are just long anyway. There's
He's
nothing I
got
can
that
do about
long
it.
head. Yeah.
But now that I am working on it, you really start to see things that you know are hard to do. And yeah, Nick's arms are some of the best, if not the best, in the game.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
no, I have
definitely
to
where
get I
you
have
can.
to give it to yeah, I have to give it to Nick.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna switch to the lat spread, I can even tell you without even switching to it that I'm gonna give it to neither one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, this is where you can see just a little bit of lacking that depth for Stu in that back. I mean, if those traps popped out a little bit more like Martin's, I mean, he could be pretty dangerous.
Hmm.
Yeah, so neither Nick nor Martin have the greatest back
No.
lat spread. I
Yeah,
mean,
It's Tonio all day on that lat
Tonio's
spread. It
and
is
Stu actually
ridiculous.
looks great in the back lat spread compared to the back double, which you see sometimes. A lot of times because depending on how you train, like a lot of these guys are like almost like built like powerlifters because they use so much back extension and things. And a lot of times their lats don't open; they're so tight, so they
Hmm.
get really a lot of overuse out of erectors. So a lot of times you see someone who's got a terrible back double can have an insane back lat, but. Yeah, Tonio. I guess Tonio's probably not as conditioned as he was in Brazil, huh?
No, yeah, but it's weird, like because like what you said is maybe just because he worked on it because they talked shit about it, but his separation and his legs were definitely better. So
Yeah,
I've never seen that before, where someone can be maybe like 5% less in condition, but his quads from the front were way better.
yeah, they were, and his posing was better too. The side tricep was a
Hmm.
lot better. Man, Wolski's looking pretty good in there too.
Yeah, he's really good. His legs are really good.
Yeah, abs and thigh, man. This is like a shitty shot. I don't think anyone's fully in this. Hopefully, I don't think these are everybody's. These are not the best ab and thighs I've ever seen. Martin's quads are so fucking pretty though. I love his quads, just the way you can really see the three heads. I mean, Nick, man, it's just like I love how he's just like, this is fucking it. This is what I am, and I'm gonna just put it straight on. I can't fucking try to be subtle with it or like do a little turn or twist. No, I'm just gonna fucking throw this. So I definitely think Nick should try to get more lats to pop on that, right? To get those that little bit of a better ratio there.
Yeah, usually they tell you to grab at the bottom of your neck,
Yeah. They're all
and
on
then it'll
top of
make
their
it.
heads, huh? Like every single one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I learned that from Steve himself. He changed that for me too. Because when you pull on the top of your head, you can contract your abs better. But
Yeah.
then because
Just
you're
crunching.
pulling your lats come in
Yeah,
because of
exactly.
that. So that's something that I learned too. But Stu with that vacuum though.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, out of this shot, I might give it to Stu. I don't know, it's not like the best shot, but um, I got a couple different most musculars, and this is interesting because depending on the most muscular, you think Nick would be a slam dunk, but depending on the version, I definitely actually have Martin in a couple of them. But in this version right here, this has got to be Nick's all day, probably. He's just the hands clasped is pretty hard to fuck with. Uh,
Yeah, he's just such a monster. The pecs and shoulders are.
his
I mean,
pecs
just
came up
look at.
too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I guess when you're injured, all you can do is train upper body. I mean, it does help.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, look at Martin's shoulders compared to Nick's shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah, Martin's got a
Um,
thick ass chest for sure, but yeah, the delts not quite the same. Although, Martin, just because he's next to Nick, and Martin's got some pretty good shoulders otherwise. But
but yeah,
I
you're
just
right
love that
because
striations, those quads. It's
yeah,
clean.
Martin's either next to Nick, and then it's like, oh, it's okay, or he's back home next to Brett, so he's never getting any respect in his chest. He's just
Yeah.
standing around monster pecs.
Nice. So how about move this? Okay, so now we'll look at some of the top two. All right. So I mean, I really honestly I think if Martin just had a little bit more on the biceps, I think I would give him this. It's really close. I don't know. Who do you give this one to?
Yeah, it's like because this is pictures again. So if you watch like the video, it's a really good way to see the difference of like upper caliber bodybuilders and but people that are just really good. And when you're a top at the Olympia, you just have this, it's just a combination of whatever's your water, you know, or lack of water, the tan, and whatever your fullness. It just looks like a different type of bodybuilder. It almost looks like, I don't know how to describe it, like, because it's not more drugs, but that's what it looks like. It's
It
like
could be.
somebody, it looks,
I, I I would say it looks like Nick is like stone dense, where like Martin's like blown up and inflated almost, you know?
yeah, right, right, right. So Nick just has that Olympia look. And you have to pretend, what if Nick's legs were a little bit bigger, a little bit more flaring?
Yeah, just that
Then,
sweep. Yeah.
yeah, then Nick's got a tremendous upper front double.
Yeah.
But there's just no way that you're going to ask Sergio Oliva's son of these two poses of who's going to win, because Martin just literally looks like the anatomy in the bodybuilding encyclopedia of what to look like.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
and
think
I
it's just,
I love the way he does the vacuum with a little bit of the abs still, you know, and it's not like just
yeah, well, I like how
sucked
he
up on you.
does. You can't see it in the pictures, but what he does is he does abs hard first,
Yeah.
and then he pulls it in. And it's cool to see, especially when you're going to get someone who stays with their abs clenched. You're kind of showing that I can do that and look good, but I can also do a vacuum as well. I wonder how Martin would look if he like cocked his hips to the side
Yeah.
and wasn't
Just
straight up and down. I think he would really stand out. I think he's got that kind of classic look.
I do think he could pose his quads a little bit better because they're so flaring. And I think in a couple of the other bicep poses, like it doesn't really show off the flare. He didn't accentuate that waist even more on there. Uh,
Mhm. But
yeah, I gotta. God,
yeah, I
that's.
know. It's just this is a bad catch. This is a bad catch for Nick because he looks better. He looks better than this. So this in this picture, it's very easy.
I mean, there were two ones of these ones too. I went with the better of the two.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Martin. Yeah, Martin just got the pecs, the abs on these. Yeah, definitely. You know, Martin's so wide. It's pretty crazy how wide he is for his height. Like whenever you just see him standing next to other guys, and he talked about how he did like shot put coming up, and it's like if you're like 5'6" doing shot put, you're gonna be like, you know, thicker than a Snicker wide. Yeah, I mean, if Nick can just get this pose to like not be just terrible, he can really make sure he doesn't fall out of that top three. But this is the pose that just knocks him down. This is a good side chest for Martin. This one looks better than the other one, but man, Martin's just man. I mean, you got to give it to Nick, like you said, but like I'm just really impressed by Martin. He really surprised me, and his delts really look 3D right here for sure. What do you think
Yeah,
about
no,
this?
I gotta give it to Martin. It's
Do you give it
just
to Martin over Nick?
yeah, just from this picture. But like,
Yeah,
but from what I watched, no, Nick definitely got the side shots.
yeah. The side,
I think
dude,
he
they're
got the
both really
side and the
close.
back.
See, this is a good one of
Yeah,
Martin here. Man, that is
yeah, he
so
looks
clean.
better.
These are two of the best side triceps in the pro league, I think. Like,
And just think, right? So the size of Nick's arms are, besides Crizzo, the biggest in the league, right? And
yeah,
look at what Martin's arm looks like in this picture.
yeah, he's got
It
that
looks like
down.
Phil Heath. It looks like
He
fucking Phil
does.
Heath. That's exactly
There's
what it looks
there's
like.
I have a most muscular coming up where he does like have shades of a little foot. He's not quite as small of the joint structure, but
Hmm.
uh man, this lower body, that is just I mean, Nick has obviously got those thick hamstrings, which is the one that was tore. You remember which do you know which one it was?
It's the I think it's the left actually,
Yeah,
the one
can't
he
really
doesn't put
tell.
back.
Yeah.
But that's
Um,
good, you know. That's not something that happens accidentally. That means that that's something he worked on, probably all the work he had on it. So, you know, kudos to that, because having an injury of something like that, because it's not just a hamstring injury. He can't do quads, you know, there's so many
yeah.
exercises he can't do. He loves doing Bulgarian squats. That's like his thing, you know.
Yeah, he
He's like
does
doing
it.
them with like a 150-pound dumbbell. It's so insane. You can't do that when your hamstring is messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, looking at this, you know, originally I was kind of like bummed that John De La Rosa didn't do Detroit. I thought he would have beaten Martin, but I don't know if he would have beaten Martin. Do you think he would have won that show? Do you think Martin would have still took it?
In Detroit, there's no way.
You think
No,
Martin?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't have beat Good Vito either, too, because
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this on the show last time. Sometimes when you have a guy in a show and they have a body part that is humongous, and let's say yours is not that great, it's not small, but it's not that great, it makes you look even worse. So John, and his worst body part is his quads. Standing between Martin and Good Vito, it would just make him look
Yeah.
worse when he's not really worse. It just happens how that's how bodybuilding is.
Yeah, that's totally true.
But you're right in the back shots. This is it's kind of like Della Rosa-esque, where it's just so crisp.
Man, I haven't seen Martin actually train his back. I don't He's so thick in his traps and rhomboids. I wonder like what he does. This is so thick. Do you give this one to Martin, or you give this one Nick, one individual?
Nah, in this picture, I give it to Martin. It's like you went through and like tried to find all the best of Martin. I know that's
I
what you did.
promise I
I
didn't.
know you're lying, bro. Stop lying.
I like Nick. I got
I
no
know. I'm just
problem.
fucking with you. I know. I know.
I actually give
Yes, you
Nick
this.
this
You have.
back lat.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, no. Lat spread from the back is Martin's worst pose.
yeah, I give this one to Nick for sure this time. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, this hamstring just looks extra gnarly. Caught some of that line. Look how thick that is. It's so round.
Yeah, and the calves. I know they don't care about calves, but
Yeah, it's always like
this.
the random tattoo you see on a body, like the calf or the forearm or something. Oh man, this is just such a
Oh,
difference in the legs right here. But I mean, I got to give this to Martin for sure. They both have similar looking abs. His waist just isn't as wide, and his quads are prettier.
yeah, you just think if you don't know anything about bodybuilding, right? This is the first show you ever went to, and you're looking at this picture. There's nobody that's gonna pick Nick.
You know who his legs remind me of? I actually have him coming up later. Someone I want to talk about. They remind me of Nicholas Valude. Remember him?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
don't
Where
they
they're
kind
still
of have that sim?
striated.
Yeah, and like that
Hmm.
really bubbly three head. And then here's a couple of most muscular. So hands clasp, Nick kills it, right? I mean, his legs even
Right.
look just as good. And when we start going to like hand on hip, it's like let's cover that up a little bit. This is a closer one for sure. And then you start seeing just the separation and details on Martin. Oh shit, not that one. And then
And he was so full. I
yeah,
saw him backstage pumping up, and I was even gonna ask him what did he eat.
I mean, this has shades of Phil here, this crab. I mean, and then you can see, I don't think Nick should ever do the crab. That's kind of
Yeah,
like
nah. I
not,
think he just got caught up in the moment for sure.
yeah, it's
Because
just wants to match him, whatever he's doing.
man, I think Martin should be hitting this pose only.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, the hand on hip is pretty slick with the quad, but
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. That it's
but
almost
then
the same,
transition to
right?
that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously we both had Quentin in our top five. I had him fifth, you had him fourth. He ended up in sixth coming back. But I have him up now. So actually was able to pull up some comparisons of his show that he did in Tampa, which was his last show almost 2 years ago. And I thought maybe we look at these real quick and just see, what the differences are, because everyone had really high expectations for him. I think he like pushed down super hard. He seemed like really adamant, like going for the conditioning, and he can get it. But he's one of these guys like Andrew Jack, like he doesn't necessarily need it to do the best he could do. So here
Yeah,
we
I mean
have on
it's
the
tough.
left is his Tampa Pro, and then on the right was the New York, and he's definitely in a lot better condition on the right, even though I thought he was in really good condition at Tampa. But I mean, I guess his lats may have grown a little bit. The quads look smaller, but I'm assuming that's just because he's dieted down. What were you thinking? Were you expecting to see more size, or is this about what you expected?
No, no, yeah. I mean, I think we all thought it was going to be bigger because that was his knock, is that he needs to be bigger. But
And he was with
like
Jansen.
if he had came in a little bit bigger and less conditioned, then we'd all be saying like, oh, he was just a little bit more shredded. So it's tough when you're 6'2" or whatever the height he is, because would you say this was 2 years ago? In 2 years, uh, there should be a more significant change.
Well, I feel
I
like
think in the back is better, but right.
leading up to it, maybe like 4 to 6 weeks out, it was looking like there was going to be a little bit more size on stage. And I mean, I gotta assume he made gains in 2 years with Jansen. Watching him, although I guess Nathan didn't really, he lost size, but he's coming from oxygen. But most everybody who goes to Jansen, they put on a lot of size in their off seasons. So I'm gonna assume they just pushed a little. I mean, he's super detailed, but like I said, I don't think he had to get that detailed to sacrifice the size. I mean, I say he looks the same size in more detail, so he probably did gain a little bit, but it's like his quads looked better before. He didn't need to be any leaner. They were bigger here.
Yeah, and it's not just Jensen too. That whole Canada crew with Dorian.
Yeah.
They all have a really good camaraderie. Like it's probably one of the best bodybuilding groups
Yeah.
outside of the US. That gym, Antoine over there, everyone over there
Yeah.
is
You
just
got Robin and Quint
hmm
and all those guys
right.
up there. Yeah.
But yeah,
So you,
this is a good example of what I was talking about with Martin's glutes. Is you see on the left picture how his glute goes past his hamstring, and
yeah.
then the New York shot, it just comes up to it, and then that's it.
He dieted his ass off, right? I mean, he's still, yeah, I definitely feel
Literally.
like, yeah, I mean, literally,
hmm
you can literally see, yeah, I mean, he's still got little striations on the side, not even really trying to poke to get them. So I do think he pushed a little hard. I hope they can rebound because I know he's going to be doing with Toronto, and I hope he kind of fills out for that. Yeah, and then the back is definitely the weak spot. It does look like his posing got a little bit better too, which was pretty bad before.
Yeah, I mean his back is better too. I mean his lats connect
Yeah,
right into those adductors. I
this
mean
is a
those
lot better. Yeah,
erectors. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say for sure the back is where the biggest improvement is. Those low erectors, yeah, that's a lot better.
But let's
Yeah,
just
it's an
think,
ugly
right?
pose
Okay.
though.
Yeah, this is his worst pose. Let's just say, go back to the back double. Let's just say, right, in 2 years, he made that much difference. And this is the problem in bodybuilding is that, right, look at it, we're doing it right now. We're like, oh, we wanted him to be bigger. And then what you do is then you're like, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna just shovel 10,000 calories. I'm gonna train crazy. I'm not going to really stress about add my inverse on my abdominal
Yeah,
core stuff. You just stop caring about stuff like that. And then let's say Quentin comes back in 2 years and he's humongous and now his waist is big. That's it. He's done.
yeah.
So if he just makes this much change in 2 years, and you have to think he's so young, what is he going to look like in 6 years? And I think that's what he should just keep doing. Is I think whatever they're doing is working. They're getting gains. Yeah, he probably overdid a little bit of cardio because he wanted to make a point. But if he
Yeah,
just
you can
keeps doing
tell,
this,
like
there's
right
no
here.
way. Yeah, there's no way that this guy. I mean, the hamstring is gnarly, but there's no way in X amount of years that he couldn't be battling for the Olympia if he just keeps making the same amount of gains.
It might be good for him too to have people kind of like get the hype off for a second because he's got to be feeling that, for people to be like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, well maybe it won't happen, and then he can kind of work
right.
in silence a little bit. But you can definitely, I feel like he's really flat here. Like you could probably pinch this skin just because there's nothing filling it out. I think he definitely, but yeah, the waist you can definitely see he dieted hard for this. His posing so much better too. That
Yeah,
makes a
yeah, yeah,
huge
yeah.
difference. Um,
hmm
Abenthine. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
he looks like he could almost do classic. I know he can't at all, and I know he hates when people say that, but it's like, oh, there's
mhm.
Sauce. We're gonna talk about him in a second. Yeah, so let's look at the schedule for the rest of the year real quick. How do I pull this up? How do I zoom you? The fuck? Oh, not that. Uh, well,
I
no.
don't see why Quentin. I mean, he should be battling for Toronto too. I don't know who's going there.
Yeah, he is. How do I make this back to normal?
Is it the one? Oh no, that's just to make his pick. Which one do you want to make big?
Oh, I'm trying to stop share. There we go. Okay, hold up.
Mm,
Okay, cool.
there we go.
Awesome. All right. So real quick, let's look at the rest of the shows real fast. So do you have Nick top 5-0 this year, you think? Or do you think they might
Okay,
bump him out?
so what do we have? We have Hadi. They have to put him in because you have Derek, Hadi, Samson,
Andrew?
but Andrew wasn't in top five, was he?
No, I'm saying this year. Do you think he'll get it? I wouldn't be surprised if they push Andrew if he made any size gains at all, which looks like he did, and Hunter. They've already put an out of shape Hunter ahead of Nick before in the past, and now he's got the same size basically. So I could see those two
Yeah,
jumping him potentially.
yeah, but Hunter's worst shot is Nick's best shot. The back shots
I
are
know, yeah, that's true. But Hunter's best shot might be his front lat too, which is Nick's dog shoe.
right. Yeah, it's like green apples and red apples. It's not even apples and oranges, just
I
different
did
types
have
of
Nick beating
apples.
Hunter that year anyway. I don't think Hunter. I think I would have had Nick ahead of Hunter the year he finished behind him.
Yeah, and I also had Hunter beating Andrew at
Yeah, I did too. We
that
talked
tech
about
that.
that. Yeah.
hmm
Oh, at the Texas, you had to beat him
Um,
at the Texas. I had him beat him at the Olympia. I didn't have him beat him at the Texas.
right. Yeah. No. No. Andrew
Close.
looked. He looked really good. Yeah. No, they definitely screwed him at the Olympia. I felt like I don't know what they wanted for him to look better or what, but he looked way better at the Olympia, especially from Texas.
Yeah.
Um, but who's the guy I'm missing? Was Brandon?
Brandon, yeah.
So that was the
Brandon was
fourth
fourth
guy,
last year. Yeah.
right? So I know. See, Brandon, we do it with Brandon every year. Every year, we're like, we don't even count him. We're not even looking
I
at him.
know.
And then he's literally in the top five for like the last decade.
It's got to stop at some point, though, right? I mean, I don't see him getting ahead of Nick. The weak points that being the legs and the detail being so different. But I mean, he was
Yeah,
sick. He was in the hospital, and he still got fourth last year. Wasn't he in the hospital the
that's what I'm
fucking
saying,
day
right? There's so
before?
many things. Yeah, so many
Yeah,
things that happened. Even before that too, he was doing a lot of traveling because he had his own supplement company, and then that didn't work out, and he went back to SciTech. So then he had to get back on the appearance game.
yeah.
And then he's opening up all his carbon gyms all over the world. I'm gonna go ahead and just for the first time say Brandon is going to be back in the top five. Watch now that I say that, then he's not
Yeah.
gonna be. But from the back, he's pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Sides, back
And
inside. Yeah.
his lat spread from the front beats Nick,
Yeah.
and they have similar. No, that's disrespect. I was gonna say they have similar legs, but it's not. It's not. It's not close. Um, but then you throw in Raphael. Is
Yeah, I was about to
Raphael in that
say,
top?
100% Raphael could edge Nick,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So look, let's think about it. So we have Derek. Derek's gonna for sure be in it. Hottie's for sure gonna be it.
Yeah.
There's no way that Martin isn't gonna be in the top five.
You think?
Like, I mean, no matter what, this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna put him in. They're gonna do six. I think they're gonna do six. And then maybe they might take someone out or whatever it is. But after all this hype, he's gaining so much respect from the sport and the judges that if he just shows up, even just how he did at New York, they have to throw him in there to see him next to these guys.
Yeah. And he's
But I
kind of a
also think
redemption story. Like people, people didn't like the kid, and now, now he's a very likable
the,
guy.
the the real question, for fans of the sport is because it's kind of cool. It's very rare when you have two bodybuilders who train with each other. It's hard because Brett did a show, it's like 2 years ago now. But let's take that Romania, I think it was Romania, show that he won and he qualified at, and let's put it next to Martin. Is now Martin beating Brett?
That
You
show, I have
know?
it. Yeah, yeah. That show,
So
but
yeah, but also Brett also made
that's what I'm saying.
improvements.
Now
This
I
is
don't know. I was
this
just looking at Brett's IG, trying to see if he's going to compete this year.
I know he's going to compete for sure.
Yeah,
But I know between them, that would be the best case scenario for them to be able to be battling each other at an Olympia stage. I know
yeah.
that it's their main focus right now to get Brett qualified. Um, but Brett's really good. And it's funny, before Detroit, we all would have said Brett's better than Martin.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do
Mhm.
do you know anyone doing the Cal Pro besides? I'm assuming Antonio and Stu probably will.
Yeah, my friend Sam Pierce, he's from Australia. He's
Yeah,
doing it.
big,
So he's
big, big,
another
big guy, right? Like, doesn't he weigh
yeah,
like a
he's
crazy amount on
probably
stage?
He's probably as tall as Quentin.
Yeah,
It's the same height. He's just a white guy. And he's another guy. He took off a couple years, actually, probably about like maybe 4 or 5 years. And he had some kind of Crohn's that he was dealing with. So I know that he got burned out, took a break from bodybuilding because having to do something crazy as bodybuilding and then also have like a disease, it just makes it where you're just like, fuck this shit. So I was so happy that he's been back on it for like the last year or two. And if you watch him, he's killing his prep. He's early. So I think he's gonna be the most shredded guy at the Cal. But it's just going to be the same thing as Quentin. When you're 6'2" or taller, you can be the most shredded, but you almost kind of look thin and flat because there's just not a lot of muscle. So that's the only person I know doing it. So I mean, he should get in the top call out because I don't know. I can't name five guys that are doing it. But
yeah.
other than that, I don't know anyone. Is
So I'm assuming
Tony? You said Tony?
Antonio. I would think so, right? I mean, he's got to qualify, and he's, him and Stu did it
He
last year.
he fucking did it when he won New York. He had no business
Yeah,
going to the Cal.
exactly.
He took
Took some
it.
money from
He
you.
took my he took my second place,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right. Why would he not?
yeah. So we got him and Stu. I imagine Tony will win, so he'll qualify. I mean, he's eighth in the world, right? He's got to qualify. And then we've got Toronto. Toronto's looking to be a decent show. I know we've got Akeem and Hassan are doing that as well as Quint. And my boy Robin Strand's going to do that too. I don't know anyone else right now, but that could be pretty good. Do you think that's Akeem's show to lose there?
It's just how much difference can you make in that back from Ohio? Because it's like it's not even like it's not like where there's like a lack of muscle. I mean, obviously it can always be more muscle, but it's almost like a structural thing again. It's not like a Justin Rodriguez extreme, but I just don't think it's going to be that fixed. And you just can't win a show today without having a decent back double by. And it's like it's really weird. It's almost like when Dennis Wolf got hurt and he had that nerve problem, and it was almost like some muscles just couldn't get flexed in the pose. And that's how Akeem's is. So I just think that that's going to stand out a lot. I think he'll look better than he did in Ohio. I think a lot of people wrote him off. I was even talking about on with you about how him and Samson have the same glutes, but one guy has thick skin and the other guy we're letting him win the Arnold. So I feel bad for Akeem. So I think he's going to look better now that he's got some back, some
And he
hype
got
on
third in
him.
UK, right? Like they liked him. They seem to reward him
Mhm.
more this year than they did last year. I think he just
Mhm.
has to come in just as peeled as he possibly can, and they kind of reward him a little bit more because he came back big because he was like in like seventh in prejudging, right? And then he came back and was like third or fourth in
Yeah.
Ohio, like the
Uh-huh.
biggest jump I've ever seen.
Yeah, you're right. That's got to be some kind of record. How many people have jumped that many spots? They rarely do that.
He was behind Antoine at first.
Yeah. Well, they screwed Antoine. Poor Antoine. Antoine got screwed with the best poser award because he was the
Who
only one who
won?
did it. Andrew.
Oh,
No,
because he
no,
did the splits.
Samson.
Because he did this. Oh,
Samson.
Sam. Okay.
Samson won. Mhm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Andrew didn't do the Arnold, did
Yeah.
he?
Yeah. He wasn't there that year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Samson, because that's what I was saying. You easily could have gave most muscular to Samson, and then
Yeah.
give best poser to the only guy who actually did a choreographed routine.
Yeah. And
Samson
he's
just kind
about
of
it.
he just did his mandatories to music,
Yeah.
and but then also sticking up for just because I'm the only person who cares about posing routines. They screwed Samson the year before. He did a pose for pose identical to the Kevin Levrone routine that Kevin did back in the day. So that means he had to watch so much tape of this
Yeah.
guy, watching it, practicing over and over again, and then he didn't even win Best Poser. So that's why he probably is just like, fuck
And then
this.
he won. That's funny.
Exactly.
So I
um,
think Hassan's looking pretty good. I mean, he seems to kind of have found his little bit of groove. So that'll be a good battle. It'll be interesting to see Quentin against Akeem again, like they were in Tampa. So do you think Hassan might take that over Akeem, or you think Quint's got a shot?
no, I think Hassan's got the same gut issues. He's another guy who probably has a 10 pack, but it's just definitely really extended. And if he doesn't come in just like super full, just like mind boggling, it's just such a distraction that I
Yeah.
think that there's because Akeem's waist is good.
Oh yeah,
So
so good.
there's
Surprisingly, for as strong
mhm.
as he is and as heavy as he goes too.
That's
So
what I
who do you
always
got?
say.
Yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
shows you that sometimes it's just genetics and in good form too. King uses good ass form when he goes deep and stuff too. He doesn't like blow out all of his shit and arches back and stuff. Like I think that's
Right.
people just in their stomachs because they're actually this in their pelvis and they get a little bit of a belly
Mhm.
pooch. So do you think Quentin's got a shot then? Who do you think could actually take this?
Yeah, because you have to have a decent back double. You just have to. And his is even if Quentin's is smaller, pound for pound, it's still just gonna have such a crisp, clean, healthy look where Akeem's is kind of like a I hate when people use the word saggy because it's just such a disrespectful word, but that is how it is. It's just it looks like the back's not dieted.
Yeah.
But Akeem is a real pro. Like I've gone against Akeem a lot of times. There's no way that you're gonna tell him fix this, and he's gonna go from March, April, May, June, and it's not gonna be any better. So my bet is that it's gonna be better. But yeah, I would still give it to Quentin.
Yeah, I hope he goes to the O for sure. The Impro's looking sick. We're looking at Crizzo versus Beirut versus Bonac coming back, and then yes, that's going to be a really good showdown between those three guys. Bonac is pulling it together. I kind of thought he might not, and he's looking pretty good. What are your thoughts on that? You think this is Crizzo's show, or I mean, but Roos looks pretty sick too. I don't know.
I know that was even remember the show that I was even gonna get ready
Yeah.
to do because it was right here. I was like, oh, it's perfect. I'll just drive there. Now I'm like, whew, thank God, because look, I'll tell you, look, I think Crizzo body part for body part, his arms, his legs, he gets so shredded. In pieces, he's such a good bodybuilder, but together it's just not pretty. His midsection is just he's got the separated abs. So my point is that Baruz, even though his legs are half the size of Chris's, he just has this like shape. This he probably has one of the best V tapers in
Yeah.
bodybuilding. And then from the back, like his lats touch his butt. It's so
Yeah.
crazy how low they connect. His glutes are always shredded. He wins the side poses. It's just that Bonac, man, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if Bonac's 50 years old. He just has that super thick muscle. And his back
Yeah.
double, when I did that, with that Arnold that I was talking about, Bonac won that. He beat
Yeah.
Dexter, he beat Rami, he beat Cedric. He's like the shortest guy on stage, but that back double is probably one of the most underrated back doubles in bodybuilding in a long time. But because he's short and he went against guys like Phil and stuff like that, it's not really talked about. But there's just no way that he's going to lose the back poses, and that's Baruz's best body part. And then from the front, Crystal's taller than all of them. Like it's. I think that's going to be my favorite show actually of the
Yeah.
year.
Me too.
Hmm.
And Sasan's going to be back at that show, who I'm a big fan of. He's doing
But
this
that's the
coming.
show he's doing, Sasan.
Yeah, yeah, I'll pull it up real
Oh,
fast. Oh, how do I do this shit? Yeah, well, look at where he's at, because I was actually kind of worried for a second because it didn't look like it was really coming back, and I'm glad he kind of didn't get the invite to the show he was trying to do. How the fuck do I do this? Okay, are you seeing this?
yeah. I think it's the next
Okay,
one. Yeah, there you go.
okay,
No, look,
cool.
I'll tell you. Look, Sasan, and when me went against each other at the New York Pro. This is like 2017, so a long
Oh
time
yeah, that's where I
ago.
first saw him. He got what, sixth? I have some pictures in there, fifth or sixth.
Man,
He looked fucking crazy.
all I talked about, because nobody wanted to talk about it because they hated me. But all I
Yeah,
talked about,
right here. Yeah.
which is a huge no-no in the sport. I said Sasan should have won. He should have beat me. Definitely should have beat everybody else.
He should have won the
And it was
following
just
week for sure in California.
he did or he didn't.
No, he should have. He got second to Gerald Williams. That was the one time Gerald Williams just
Yeah.
put this shit. Gerald looked good, but I mean, this is from the Cal on the right on my screen. I mean, I would have given it to him. It was a 1 point decision as well. So
That's all
Sasan
it
never won a
was.
show. I really wanted to see him at the O, and he decided to step away
Fuck.
for a bit. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
no,
he's coming
and
back.
like good people, like this guy takes the cake. He's like literally one of the best
Yeah,
people. And I love hearing stories about people taking a break, living their life, getting their shit together, and then coming back when they're ready. You know, it's a big problem in the sport is that we're so forced to do a show. When are you going to do a show? And especially when you're in a country like him, where there's probably three good guys,
yeah,
three open guys. They're probably all the time like, when are you doing it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do
yeah,
it? So it's very rare that they come back because it's so much pressure. And I
yeah.
commented on this photo and I told him to stop posting pictures from 2017 because this guy stopped training, took a break, and now look at this. Like, it's stupid. He's so
Yeah.
insane.
This is like over
Yeah.
the last 2 months, because it was like he was talking about doing the UK Arnold, and I was like, I don't see it, man. You're not quite, but yeah, now he's like real close. I mean, I real close. I'm happy to see him. I hope he does really gonna hope he continues to go on. Yeah, this is the Cal that following year where he went against Nate Diasha, unfortunately. So he wasn't beating Nate, but he got second this year. And this was a fucking fantastic look. This was 2018, and this was his last show. And so I was like, definitely leaving us wanting some more when you finish like that, you know. And he doesn't do any
Yeah.
squats or anything either. He talks about how he doesn't do any kind of squats, and he's got that same kind of crazy six separation.
Man, I don't get it. I'm literally breaking my back squatting. And these guys are like, Cormier didn't squat.
Well,
Fucking
neither did
Phil,
Dorian, right?
right? Phil just does Smith machine. Like, It's just
Well,
so
Nicholas Balud,
crazy.
who I brought up earlier, I was saying he didn't squat at all either. And
Oh
you
yeah.
just do normal squats? You do like Smith, or what do you usually do?
Well, because of my ankle, I'm doing Smith, but before my whole life, I do
Yeah.
regular squats. Yeah.
Yeah. I do too. It's interesting to see. There are some like really cool. I feel like if you do squats good, then you're good. But some people do squats in a way that they don't get their quads or getting more adductors, and it makes their like not a good shape. Where some people they really isolate their quads on like the hacks and leg press, and I feel like
Mhm.
they have that better quad shape and separation. Um,
But
what
if
else
you
we got
take
this
out
year?
if you take out squats though, you have so much energy. That's the problem, is that it's not even like if you're doing them right or wrong, but you could do them right and you're just so spent that no matter what, your hack squat, your leg press, or whatever it is, are taking kind of leftovers. But if you took out squats, man, now you could probably do double. That's probably why,
More
like, look at
volume, yeah.
Hunter. I don't see Hunter squatting a lot,
That's true.
but he'll do like Ronnie plates on the hack squat. He's doing like 18 plates.
His legs blew
Um,
up too.
yeah, Hunter's got some of the best quads for sure. And the calves, he's the only person still training calves, even though they're never gonna give him respect for it. And he's got that labrada in him. He's gonna train him no matter what.
Yeah, no, he made some major gains. Um, so after last, what do we got? So after Impro, man, that's gonna be such a good show. We've got Italy, and I know Nathan's gonna do that, and I would assume
Mhm.
Beirut will probably do that too. I think Beirut is gonna hit a few since he can't really come over here, So that would be a really good battle between Nathan and Beirut. Probably give it to Beirut at
Yeah,
this
because
point, maybe.
yeah, but Nathan brought his legs up. I couldn't
He looks good. He
believe
looks really good. I'm
what.
just really high on Beirut, but Nathan does look
Yeah,
really good right now.
yeah, no, I used to doubt Beirut for sure, and I just saw him at FIBO. He came to my booth to say what's up, and I just couldn't believe, like, obviously I was already feeling down because I was like lost so much weight, but he was so humongous. I didn't even want to post the picture of us together. I was like, holy shit.
Oh, you know
So
what? I remember what I was going to ask you a second ago. Did you do you ever squat like at the end then, since it does, so you don't want to like take so much out of you?
I did that, not the end, but in the middle with Dorian. That's what
Yeah,
Dorian did. He
that's
just
what I like. Yeah,
literally you can't walk anymore after leg extensions, so they're just completely exhausted, and then you squat. So it
yeah.
wasn't really the end, but my go-to, and the majority of my career, my legs were bigger than my upper body. I even stopped training legs, I remember, 1 year just to let my upper body catch up.
The whole year, or
But
what are you doing like once a month? How does that work?
no, yeah, I didn't do shit. I did leg extensions and just
Oh
lunges
shit.
and stuff like that. Yeah. And now I wish I had my legs that I had when I was not appreciating them. But my go-to was, when I had stupid legs, was every exercise. It was squats, hack squats, lunges, leg press. So going with Dorian, and it's just literally leg extensions and squats. It was just like, that's it, you know? But I'm just so cardiovascular out of shape that I was like about to throw up, or was throwing up, just because I couldn't even take it cardiovascular wise.
Oh man.
So I think somewhere in the middle is nice, not starting with squats so you're not complete shit, but also not doing such high reps. That's the hard part.
Yeah. I've liked finishing with Smith squats lately. Like that's because I don't quite need the stabilizers as much, and I can really push that hard. But I always switch it up. I'll throw squats in the beginning sometimes too. Um,
Mm.
so, so let's finish this season real fast. So Italy, I don't know anyone doing Mr. Big in Portugal. Maybe James will be coming back. I think he's done that show. I don't know if he's won that. He looks about ready to go right now. Have you heard of anyone doing that?
No, actually, no. Yeah, because I was even trying to figure out what show that I'm gonna do, because I want to catch something at the end of the year, but not like literally with right before the Olympia, where I have to diet for, straight
Yeah.
2 weeks. But I was trying to look up the shows myself, because you know what the last show is in the States?
The last show in the States
Is
is
it this
the Texas.
Legion? Oh,
Legion's
it's
for next year. Yeah.
they switched it, because the year I did it was for next year. Last year it was for the same year.
Yeah, they
Now
have
it's
it as the
back to next
15th of
year.
September this year for the cutoff. So I think that's the UK show is the last
Uh,
one.
oh yeah, because the fucking Olympia's sooner this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. So the last one would be
Shit.
Texas if you want to go up against Andrew and see.
Is he for sure doing it again?
Yeah, yeah, he's confirmed on that one. That'd be awesome. Okay. So we'll go through the other ones real quick and then we'll get to that one. So we've got right now, I don't know anyone doing Mr. Big. I don't know anyone doing Vancouver, and I don't know anyone doing Chicago. And those are all July. Those are all pretty soon. And then you've got Dubai, which I'm assuming you're not going to Dubai. Can you even go to Dubai? Are you allowed to be back in there?
Yeah, no, I don't have any problems there. I just left because I didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do Dubai because holy shit, like that amount of money is gonna attract insane people. And I'm telling you, bro, there are some Arabs over there in the Middle East that we don't know about, and they just can't travel, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be able to finally see some of them at that Dubai show.
That'd be cool. Right now, it's Nexzilla and Beirut are the two big names, that'd be pretty interesting to see. That'll be a cool.
There's just no way that Nexzilla or Rubio, there's no way that he is gonna beat anyone with any kind of shape.
Yeah,
He's
I mean, he'd
just
have to just be so peeled that his freak factors is undeniable, and he looked like he could get in good shape. He didn't show that craziness yet, but maybe. And I forget who he's working with. You know who he's working with? Nexzilla. I know
yeah,
Chris is helping him.
he just signed with him like a month ago. It's somebody here in Spain.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
forget the guy's name, actually. He's not a big coach, but I think he's got a couple guys.
Yeah. Espen.
Yeah, I think that's
Jose
it.
Espen. Okay. Yeah. Jose
Yeah.
Espen. And then we've got Tampa. John's doing Tampa. That could be a show. You beating John. You know that one. What is that? That's 8-3. So that's August 3rd, and that's the only big name I hear for that so far. But I know I know Brett's probably going to compete. Vito's probably going to compete, and you're still floating around. And then we got Texas for Andrew, and then I hear Hunter's doing the late Italy show. And I'm assuming Regan's going to do that because that's Yamamoto sponsored as well.
No, Regan's taking the year off.
He's going to take the whole year off. Okay, interesting. I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah, he hurt his forearm.
Oh, really? Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure. I mean, because yeah, you can. It doesn't look like it's that serious because he's training, so it can't be that serious of a forearm injury. I'm sure it's just a combination of having some injury that he had to take time off, and now he's going to be a father.
Yeah,
Why,
sure.
stress to try and hop into a show last minute? Maybe me and him will do Legion together and be qualified for next year or
Yeah,
fight for
yeah.
the qualification next year.
Jump in early. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I don't know what Brett's doing. You said Brett will probably jump in this year. You think
Yeah, I
qualify?
know he wants to do a show for sure.
Nice. Cool. Well, yeah. This is definitely an exciting season. We still got a lot of people we need to qualify. I hope we get to see you on stage, big dog, for sure, for sure. And
I know this whole fucking injury thing really just fucked me up, and now I got to move, so it just kind of puts things in a little pause. But at least I'm moving to a place where I have my coach. There's
yeah,
tons of like posing coaches and other bodybuilders that are better than me. So I'm moving to an area where I think it's really going to kind of like put a foot up my ass.
yeah. Who are you going to be training with?
I don't know, actually. My old workout partner actually lives in Vegas.
Is
He's
that
just
Eddie? Who's your old training out partner?
No, oh yeah, I trained with Eddie in San Diego, but no, even before him, when I lived in Venice, who I trained with Sean Roden, but I also was training with this guy Andrew Velchik, and he's just a trainer at Lyft there. He's just training people, but people ask me all the time, like, I think you asked me, like, who was the best person you trained with? And if you ask a lot of pros, majority of the time they're going to tell you some guy who's not even a pro.
Yeah,
Like a majority of the time, you just have someone who have a good connection. He knows what to say to push you, and that's that guy Andrew. It's probably the best workout I've had. It was when I lived in Golds.
yeah.
So he's there. So it'll be good to train with him. But I'll be surrounded by like fucking Keon is there. Like
Oh
there's just
yeah.
so many people
Oh,
in
Keon's in
Vegas.
Vegas now too. Yeah, that'd be sick. You got
Mhm.
flex out there. You have all the good gyms. Is your girl going to be moving with you?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. That'll be cool. We'll
We'll
keep you
see. We'll
grounded.
see. See if she makes it that long. Maybe I'll leave her in Spain.
She in there?
Yeah.
Uh, that's cool. Yeah, you guys look cute together for sure.
Thanks.
Well, man, I
What's your
appreciate it. We did
shirt?
a what's that? Oh, you know what? I didn't
What?
even realize I had this on. Have you ever seen this?
Bro, that's so funny. Like
I
you're
didn't
just
even fucking
like,
I just fucking thought of
oh,
that.
this whole thing.
I just grabbed. So I had your shirt on last time. That's hilarious. This is your dad. I got this at like the very first thing I ever went to. I think this was like Rich Gaspari's company or something. This shirt's not around anymore. And I used to like, when I was like 13 years old, I had like all the pictures of all the bodybuilders I liked. And I had the picture of your dad, with the pull cue, the tricep. And had all that dickhead Sean Ray everywhere. And, like, my mom was like, "Why do you have all these like naked black guys in your, on your walls?" But yeah, so I was a big fan of your dad. So I saw this. I thought this is cool. I love the history and old school. So I got this. And then I saw your shirt in the same color and ended up getting that one too.
That's so funny, yeah, because I only just saw the head and I was like, man, that kind of looks like someone I know.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
so
if this
funny.
is even like legal. I don't see these anymore. I don't know if he used the image
No, yeah,
appropriately.
I messaged a couple of them that they had to take it down for sure. It was probably
Yeah.
one. It was probably one of them actually.
I got like a red
That's all right. I'm
panther.
gonna sue you too, motherfucker.
I'll give you the revenue off of this. All like we'll give you like 20 bucks. Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
exactly.
We'll link back up after some more shows and touch a base and see how everything's going. Appreciate your time, man. We really did a good dive into the meat and potatoes of the season. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get some people hating us for sure. So
Nah, nothing was too bad. Nah, not at all. All right, man. Appreciate it. Good luck with your move, and I'll be in touch with you.
yeah, I'll keep you updated later.